taken away. Corki taken away. Lots of mid lane being honed in on here in this draft, whereas it's more support oriented for Solary.
Yeah, definitely. You can see that Solary, a lot of the time they are going to, then, they don't really ban this Wukong on the red side
So there
quite
you
often.
go.
So it's no surprise to see that. And it does mean that Wukong does go over the way of BDS Academy, like we predicted. And I think the response here, for me, I'm trying to think.
I think that okay. Do you want to get some time to just say yourself, or can I get my thought process there? Are we spoiling
Do
it?
your thought process. Do your thought process.
Yeah, okay. I think that like in this scenario like that, you got the standard ones to go for, like the volley bear. If you want to influence and lane before Wukong hit that level 6, you can also match the skirmishing potential in either Viego or Sinsao. But Viego was nerfed quite a bit on this patch, and we will probably not see the same priority on this champion as we saw earlier. But with a Kalista coming through, it wouldn't surprise me to either see just a support pairing immediately or the volley bear because you want to facilitate this lane.
Yeah, and what it is actually just going to be the Belveth again. And you can see teams are just having so much priority on this now. But it's not quite getting off the kind of same of intended effects we would like to see. And I feel like that's kind of been the general case. I think every time I've seen the Belveth, it's not necessarily impressed me in the way that I would have imagined it to. I think the champion has a lot of potential, but what is it about the champion that means it's not delivering on the kind of octanes that we'd expect it to?
First of all, the game we saw earlier, there is nothing accelerating it. You had no enchanter, right, being
Yeah.
together with it, right? So that's something that makes it very difficult. Some extra movement speed for it to play around. CC around it, the good peel around the Belvet, something that lets her dictate the fights is what she need. And the game we just saw earlier with Vitality, Skeens could never go in. It would even to pick up a form, he didn't feel confident enough to move forward. And that's why you need a team composition rounded out of Belvet. Like you need a good support pairing as well, where you can start as soon as you hit level 6. Get priority bot side, move up towards that Herald, start getting some good counter jungling coming through. And while we mentioned the Swain for the mid lane, it was for Rika, but it's Scarlet that picked it up this time around.
Scarlet does pick it up, and I feel like Swain's a champion we see a lot of as well. Obviously, most recently, I saw a very impressive Swain performance by Chimera over in the NLC as well. I'm sorry that we keep mentioning it. Is obviously our other league that we watch a lot against 6-7. Very impressive composition. I feel like it does have a lot of power in the kind of shorter range compositions, but to me, Ezreal and Gnar going to be operating a little bit further away, obviously in base form. Do you feel like this is going to be? Spell it out to me in terms of what does the Swain pick do here for Solary?
Well, it's something that can just keep the mid lane priority. It's also very nice
Yeah.
skirmishing around once you hit that level 6. And I
Mm.
think, the pick potential, decent. In terms of pairing it up with Belveth, I still think it's not the best one you can have, but it certainly enables longer team fights. It's very difficult to burst down a Swain who's ahead of the curve. And with the champions being picked so far, there's not really anything that's going to one-shot it, so it will benefit of it. I'm still really looking for, the pick that's going to let this Velvet really just run rampant. But I think with the amount of mid lane bans that's already been banned by BDSA in the first rotation, now moving into the second ban rotation, and Solary picking their own mid lane R3, they could really just take away a lot of Riga's champion pool here.
I completely agree, and it's no surprise to see that Victor, especially getting taken off the table. I think Rika just really, when he gets his impressive performances in, it is on champions like the Victor. I believe. I think, with
Okay.
just the amount of damage he can put out.
So with the amount of champions banned, I'm actually looking at Veigar for Riga and thinking that it's not too bad of an option, and this might be a Swain support with this Silas pick coming through now. But once again,
Okay.
loads of melees, loads of, short range in terms of Swain and of Kalista. So I think, champions that grounds these opponent or the Veigar coming through as well, you get the grounding for Cassiopeia W there, is super efficient against the composition you have right here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I even would have gone for something like, I completely agree with the Casio, other sort of things. You can just keep it locked in place. I think is very, very good here. I think being solo OP will only help the Casio as well. In terms of what other going to pick her in the bot lane, I'm expected to see something a bit more stable, take away one of these enchanters potentially. I think the Ezreal Karma, I feel like, just gives you that stable 2v2 no matter what Solary pick.
Yeah, but also having the extra movement speed to play around with here, from all of the members of BDSA, they favor heavily of this. Getting the Mechanoc closer just so they can knock him in perfectly at the wall. Extra movement speed for Casio kiting around. Bot lane priority you enable. And no, this is actually going to be a Silas top all of a sudden, I think. Into the Gnar.
Wow.
Or the Swain. This is a very interesting draft coming through from Solary. They've flexed with a lot of their picks here.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've kind of just, gone in completely different directions a lot of the time here. But I feel like eventually, one of the things that I don't necessarily understand this game is Silas versus Gnar in terms of the matchup, in terms of the interactions. How does that kind of play out? Do you?
Well, I'm not too sure, but I think once you hit level 6,
Yeah.
Silas stealing and now ultimate has always been really high, favorable for the
Yeah.
Silas, even in team fight scenarios. You get to kind of now create that in laning phase. And Silas can start E and then, get a really good trade with Na, who doesn't trade as effectively in the early levels, where despite you being melee, you can trade into the range Na. So I think it's really on the side of the Na to play the first few levels a little more careful, finally get your levels through, and then that's really where the range into melee matchups start to flourish in terms of the range champion having an easier time taking control of the lane. And I think taking control of the lane is going to be really pivotal, moving into a matchup against the Bel'Veth, where you want to control her, you want to track her, but we'll jump right into that after this short promo video, and we will have the game ready.
On to the Rift now. Solary versus BDSA Academy. 4 and 7 apiece for both teams, looking to clamber on top of the other, climb past towards the upper echelons of the table now. Obviously, middle of the pack, playoff spots. A little bit more up in the air than it has been in previous weeks. Cool ball.
I think so as well. It's fun. It seemed like we're gonna have a league where we were gonna be having a bottom tier for sure, a mid tier for sure, and a top tier. But with Vitality VP losing earlier today, and some of these bottom end teams finally starting to show strength, like Solary, there's really no telling how the final standings are going to look once we move forward to playoffs. And interestingly about this game, and let's try and track the different kind of Bel'Veths we've seen. Because this time around, Joker has opted in for the Ghost instead, which of course lets you stick on your targets and have more effectivity in some of the skirmishing, but it's also really potent in terms of you getting your resets on your true form when you pick up kills. If you don't already know, if you have Ghost active, but you score a takedown, well, the Ghost remains active a little bit longer. So the more kills you pick up in a fight, the more you can Ghost around and the more effective it's going to be. So it is a little bit potent with the kit you have in the Bel'Veth.
Absolutely. See Rika. There's a little ward there on the Raptors. Going to let them know that he is starting those. So I feel like you spoke about how important it was in terms of tracking the jungler, and Bel'Veth obviously going to be locked into a relatively linear clear path. I feel like this gives a lot of safety over to this must give a lot of, even more safety over to the side of Crownie and Dream Race.
I think so as well, and what we really want to see from Crownie and Dreamers is just them poking it down. We don't want to see the extended trade, specifically not into a Kalista either. You want to see them, use majority of their abilities on the minion wave, take control, specifically when you're playing into a Thresh who is ranged as well, but also have the possibility of the support item to execute the minions when they go below 30 HP. So there's something to fight back with. As you can see, wave stayed fairly even between the two.
You see... Quick little trade there. Rika gets level 2. The Q and 2Es onto Scarlet means that he has a slight HP advantage. I can't imagine that does much beyond what should be a relatively stale early game. But yeah, I think keep eye on the bot lane, obviously, as Bel'Veth makes his way down here. Wukong a little bit faster in that way, but I think that has been the case. Bel'Veth not like, from what I can tell so far, and you'll have to correct me on the scoreboard because you probably would have seen slightly more Bel'Veth than me. Doesn't seem like the fastest clearer in the world.
I think it's around an average time for a jungler, but it's definitely not one of those, 310, I've full cleared my entire jungle and I'm ready to take Scuttle on spawn. That's not what we're looking at. And once again, Bel'Veth is the kind of champion that ramps up. We do have a little pause, which is why the cameras has now gone back to us, and we are very early into the game, where there's still not too many takeaways to talk about. So Jake, if you want to throw any topics into the mist, now would be a decent time for it.
God, let me think. You've really thrown a curveball at me, Gilbug.
So one of the features, one of the positives I quite often have with you is that I think you're very good on the fly. You're really
good
creative.
on the ball, 100%.
Yeah.
Do you watch
I'm not
tennis
seeing that
all?
right now.
Have you been watching tennis?
So,
do you watch tennis?
I'm of course a Dane, which means that Caroline Wozniacki in the female tennis court is something that most Danes. Caroline Wozniacki, the #1 female tennis player for a really long time, next to Serena Williams now.
Not a clue, mate. Couldn't tell you.
Oh, well. Either way, since we didn't really have a, male performer in Denmark, it was always women's tennis we were watching and never the men.
Well, there's a real tennis player in this game, and his name is Jocko. Last name Vich. He's obviously taking a little break from Wimbledon today to come and play in this LFL match. And he's gonna be looking to get some aces this game, I can imagine, as you do in tennis.
Yeah, well,
hopefully the score, hopefully the kill score will be 15-love at some point.
Oh my god. Well, I'm really hoping, for the sake of your jokes, that there's a lot of tennis enthusiasts out there, because I tell you what, it's not me, unfortunately. If you are going to talk about the Formula 1 race we had in the weekend, that could have been a talking point as well. But
speaking of formulas, what is BDS Academy's formula in this early game? How do they really start to blow open this game? Because we're 4 minutes in now, and I feel like both junglers kind of just trading off their full clears. You see Belveth in the mid lane here, actually. Rika's going to have to flash, probably. Jocko's used that cardinal direction. Ghost is primed by Rika. No flash burn. Knew he had a little bit of time to work with there, but this is going to mean double scuttle, I think, for Jocko, unless Shio has something to say about it. And
also just awkward for Rika in lane. He does not have teleport. He's, of course, opted in for the Ghost he just blew, which means that he's going to be forced to stay in lane. Very low HP, and that allows Scarlet to allow Joker to get that double scuttle. Shio obviously wanted to get up there and fight for it, but was never allowed to do it due to the fact that mid lane could not move in that regard. So that gives them some priority to play around. It's going to give Joko... Did he take the Crux? I'm actually not too sure. He might be on his second clear right now without having bagged. But you say, what does Solary do to...
28, 32. Yeah, he's got on a couple minions for mid. This is his second clear. He's done Krogs already, yeah.
I was going to say, yeah. But you asked me, how do they blow it apart? Well, that's why this kind of team comp differentiates between what we usually see in the meta. When you have a Belveth, you're not looking to blow open the games. You're looking to play a slower game where you play around the priority you gain from the lanes, take the objectives, let your Belveth scale to one item before the opponent. When that happens, look for counter jungling. We want to see Steelback and Joko move together. You'll have Scarlet as well with the Vision of Empire. That's going to be very long range to also skirmish around with, specifically if Rika stays pushed on the tower, which he may well be, since Scarlet does have that teleport. So you can see the mid lane as well from the mid laners. Both are back. Now it's going to be an even wave state. Problem is for Rika, he's going to be forced to walk back, but Scarlet's going to be able to just TP in, and that by default also gives him a little bit of an advantage here in the mid lane. As you can see, minions are dying, Rika's not nearby to pick him up, he's going to be losing gold, he's going to be losing XP, and Scarlet once again is going to take the priority. He's level 6, he's going to have the advantage, and you can look for setup around objectives.
Yeah, speaking of Visions of Empire, how much of a fan of monarchical restitution are you, Gulborg? Well, because obviously now Crowny, the Crown and the Prince have been returned to the league. Obviously, Crowny served that 2-game suspension. Matty came in to replace him for those 2 games, but he's back now. I think it's fair to say that although, it was nice to have Matty for one of those games, I think, you can't really overstate how important it is for just to have that, continual 5-man lineup together. Jocko's here. He's used one of the directions. Just have to use that smite. A little bit of HP here. Steelback's got a lantern here. They found Karma, goes in. That's a big hook here. Coming in here. Ultimate is going to be giving the first blood over to Jocko. And there's no return to sender. It's the first blood and the dragon that goes the way of Solary.
What a beautiful hook from Steelback. That just sets that one up perfectly. They pick up the kill. And as soon as that happens, BDSA, they're forced to forfeit the objective. Crowny even losing the flash. Still bot lane priority. It's going to be a stacked up wave. Dreamrace is not back yet. And that forces Crowny to leave the farm. Hook. Oof, almost again from Steelback.
Swing and a miss. Dreamrace tries to find Jocko, but Jocko's going to find his way to the lantern. That is going to be the lighthouse that guides Jocko forever home. He does have level 6 now, and going to hopefully try and transition this lead in the bot side that they've just gotten into a Rift Herald, which, as we know, very much a lot of potency with how this Belveth champion works.
Now, cross map to come through, mid lane priority finally gained
get
by
spotted
Rika,
out by that
allows
ping.
him to move.
We'll get spotted up by that pink. Kyo might be in a bit of danger here, tries to clear out. He's using so many of his cooldowns here. Wukong out comes that response, grounded. It's going to mean that he gets taken out so easily, and you saw that it was a decision he had to make there in terms of using the cooldowns to burn through that wave. It's not enough. Good play there, cross map from BDS.
Casher is just such an annoying champion to play against when you're playing Silas too. Your W is obviously considered a dash as well, so if you're not straight on top of them, I do believe that you're not going to be allowed to get that healing either. Of course, you can't use the abscond abduct either, so just in general, really annoying champion to play against, and we see it there. Nothing Keo can do on the tower. Good response from BDSA to at least stay competitive this game, and they still have a gold lead for themselves. It was a big wave that Keo was losing on the top side. Just look at the lane CS difference between the top laners.
Yeah, it's big there. You see Jocko starting up this Rift Herald. Fancies himself one of those coral voids. Void corals, sorry.
Yep.
Enhanced one, actually, Gold Ball.
Yeah, and he's level 6, so this is where you pick it up.
Level 6, where they're going to choose to go. They're going to Keo. He's dead before this fight can even start. Has to flash over the wall now. Has to find himself a little bit of space. Lantern is available. They get Jocko out. It's a nice bit of navigation so far from Solary. With that Rift Herald going solo, Az's here as well. Rika finds an ult that doesn't land onto anyone. Adam's gone low as well. He's not going to get Mega Artnar at all here. It's a big fight. Jocko gets one Coral Void here, and they get 2 kills. But unfortunately, I do believe that the Rift Herald went the way of the Wukong, so that enhanced Coral Void is not going to be available for Jocko. But Solary doing well to navigate these early fights. You can see the Lantern there was really the key in terms of just getting Jocko out, and then Keo did a very good flash over the wall to get himself out from immediate danger.
And I promise, one day we will call it a void kill. Keo, you say he's out of danger, but Rika apparently found him on the top side. Not a good game from the Solary top laner here today, at least with the Silas pick. He threw in a curveball, but for now, there's another one on the opposite side of the map. There's kills all over the place. Shio, looking, but not finding anything.
Yeah, he's just getting up close and personal with the Brambleback, getting more acquainted with it. Takes his second one of the game. And yeah, that's a kill on the top side, as well as now Azza 3-0. And he's someone that, in their wins for Solary, I think back to that very impressive game he had on the Kaiser as well.
Yeah, the quadra kill there. Who's going to forget that?
If he gets off to a rampant start like this, he can really start to ravage, well, the back line and the front line of this team. And you saw Exakick at the first game of the day, just how dangerously he was able to kind of navigate the front line in and out, dancing kind of away. But you can be that dancer on Kalista.
As a support connoisseur myself, Don Jake, I will have to say, Steelback's Thresh in all of these team fights.
Okay, yeah,
the team fights has started with a hook every single time. Let's see what actually happens here. Keo steals away the ultimate. Fancy movement from Rika.
Can we see that
breaks
again?
The angles.
Can we please see that again in slow motion? Is it possible? I really have to see that again, but is there any way we can see that like slightly slower?
Fast clicks, that is fast clicks.
No, but I can't, like, he clicks back so fast on the ultimate. That is mental. Is there any way that we can see that again?
Make a timer on it. Oh, they might be working on it.
We'll see. That was incredible.
Well, you can always rewind it a little bit and just have a look at it in the VODs as well, of course, later. But, I mean, as you said yourself, what a play coming through from Rika. And we've said it before as well. This is a guy, you know, back when he was playing in Prime League, before he got onto LEC, he was on everybody's mind. All right, let's have a look at it then.
Oh my god! That is in... Jesus Christ!
It's not in slow motion, but that is...
It may as well be.
Fast clicks. Slow-mo comes through on the minions afterwards. Appreciate it. Back to the live channel once again. Steelback finds a hook.
Rocco's trying to find a reset. Gets that W primed out here. Shio goes low from the red buff. Scarlet's in as well with an ult. Lantern. Gonna get him away there. Kyo's off to the side as well. The clicks have slowed down as we click and twist. So a long day at the chiropractor's office is... The neck of that dragon's going to be cracked for the second dragon of the game. Solary picked that up. Mountain Dragon. We're onto a Hextech Soul now. It's not quite the grass surface we would have been hoping for from Djokovic. More of a hard surface. It's a French Open, so to speak.
But having a Hextech Drake when you got a Kalista and when you have a Belveth is really not something you complain about. Now, Joko just took a Hexgate. Is behind Dreamer Ace and Crowny down behind that bottom white lane. Yeah, once Crowny. Again, Steelback!
Oh my god.
Disgusting!
This has been a game of really quite stark individual performers, I think it would be fair to say. I think Steelback landing these hooks time and time again, you've brought attention to it. I think Rika with these fast clicks as well on the other side. This game is even,
That's plays.
I think.
That's just plays that makes me want to be in the game right now. Just like, let me play that Thirst right now. Let me be the one to try and do this. Steal back. What a highlight. Montage worthy play again and again coming out from him.
If you can do it in Diamond 3, you can do it in the LFL.
I do hope they say that.
I don't think they do, but I'm hoping they'll start to say it. Surely.
Yeah. Hopefully.
You heard it here first, guys. Diamond 3, the new breeding ground of the next Thresh talent.
Well, we had C9 balls with the D2, but yeah, Flash comes through from Steelback. And, I mean, it's just, it's great. And then obviously Fate's call to just...
seal the deal.
I'm thinking, yeah, there we have it. Fantastic.
Absolutely. And now, obviously, as a beneficiary of this, Azza, 4-0 now, almost moving towards... We're going to be moving more so towards the second item, picking up a lot of farm in this top side as well. And in contrast, I feel like BDSA Academy need to, although the gold is not that far behind, you have to feel almost in terms of the map state and just in general how the momentum has been piling up so far. You have to feel at least Solary a little bit further ahead than the gold might suggest. But how do they continue that?
There's definitely weak sides on both spots, but let's wait for that just a little bit as BDSA, they had a window to look. They're setting up for the next Rift Herald. Rotations have come through from both teams. Top laners are now down in the bottom lane, but they both have teleport. Adam with a level advantage. So close to hitting Mechana, and I think he's going to be hitting it now as well, so it's going to be in decent timing if they look for a play just now, but Solary can also just be patient about it. Wait out that Mechana on the bot side, as you can currently see from Adam.
Yeah, we've seen so many teams today just not hold on to these leads and just be so scared to lose the leads. I think it's ultimately what ends up costing them the leads in question. And I really want to just see Solary just calm and collected, but take your chances, take your shots when you get them.
And now mid lane pushed in, top lane pushed in as well. It's just going to get you access to the Rift Herald, which once again, enhanced Void Coral, as you're so happy about. Should get picked up.
Void Coral, absolutely. Otherwise, as we referred to them earlier, as the Chaos Emerald. Chio fancies his chances here, goes in, ultimate onto steal back. Fate's cool, means that he gets pulled back into that. And the teleport comes out from the Silas. But look at Adam, doesn't have Mega Gnar, but does have a little bit of a flank here to play with the mid lane wave.
Rift Herald has been leashed once again on the top side. They might be trying to look for Adam. He's not on Vision currently, and they might just forfeit this objective. It's a difficult one to maneuver. It's stolen!
Oh, Jocko gets it! Steals it away there. Doesn't get his enhanced Chaos Emerald there. Steal back fancies his chances with the hook. Would have had to operate through the swamp of miasma there, but it's a myriad of problems that have been created from Solary getting that Rift Herald. As they should now be able to get one of these, this mid lane tier 1 for example, on its last legs, and I feel like with that Rift Herald now, it should be the case that eventually falls in the next coming minutes.
So last time around, Shio stole the first Rift Herald. This time around, Joko pays the favor in that regard, and now you'll have a Rift Herald you can just pop open in the mid lane whenever you want to break that turret. Obviously, there is 1 minute on towards the next dragon as well. Hectech Drake is the one we're waiting for. I know it says mountain. It is a little bit buggy.
What is that? What is that Cassius get? Is that a bath?
I didn't really pay attention to that, so
I don't
you wouldn't lie to me if you find out.
I don't think that snakes have baths, personally, Goldborg. That's not something I can imagine they do.
I mean, maybe they do.
They're quite a self-sufficient animal. They shed skin. They don't need to wash. But
well, that's fair.
Speaking of shedding skin, turning over a new leaf, I can imagine that BDSA Academy want to try and get more of a grip on this game. Turn over a new chapter in what has been, despite the relatively even gold lead, been a Solary tempo-favoured game in terms of them being able to really set the tone, and it needs to be a tonal shift in contrast to BDSA Academy. Maybe trying to stop this dragon stacking here.
Yeah, mid lane was pushed in. They got 1 tower, but it's no longer a pressure point. Rift Herald has been killed off, so we're back into a standoff in between these drakes. Adam this time around way closer to that Mega Gnar, and he does have flash.
True shot barrage comes off from the side here. Clowny's in a bit of an interesting position.
Kyo?
He's going to meet Kyo here. Kyo does a good job of making sure he doesn't land right in the face of Crowny. Good bit of foresight there.
Drake still stacked up. Lanes are relatively even on the minion waves all across the board, so no team need to be elsewhere. It is all going to be about this dragon.
A lot of foresight here as have to use some brutal force, some Bruce here. Spruce themselves up forward.
Take a look at Azza here. A lot of Ren here. Big flash forward from Adam has responded almost immediately. Ishio picks up the Dragon. Jocko bows low, doesn't get the reset. Heal comes out. Hio's gone low now. Rika find more from the Conqueror. Trying to find a little bit more, but it's Azza who's unstoppable. Although it is the Dragon that goes the way of BDSA Academy, it's kills that go for the favor of Solary. They get 2 kills here in response to 1. Obviously would have been happier with on that soul point, but they're going to get a tier 1 bot lane as well.
Yeah, I think it's big for BDSA to slow down the slow point anyway, but the fact that you have to kill 2 kills for it, obviously not ideal. And Solary, they continue with the other neutral objectives on the map in terms of the towers here. They picked up the mid lane turret before the Drake even begun, and afterwards the Drake fight, they pick up the bot lane turret as well. So it's looking good in terms of the gold they're stacking up. Now, a 2k gold lead as well. Still 2 Drakes, but either way, tempo being driven by Solary.
Yeah. You can see how this one unfolds here. Important to note. Kyo goes over the wall here. And that means that...
I think it's just very split in between it. You can see that there's no real target being isolated from Solary. We have some people looking for Rika and Dreamer Rays, and in terms of, you know, Scarlet and Q, and then the other fight, it's Asa, Joko, and Steelback trying to deal with Adam and the rest of them, and it just felt like this setup and the fight before the Drake really begun wasn't there. It was like the Drake got killed, then we start the team fight properly. So I think you could see the prioritization from at least the side of BDSA, where they just wanted to kill the Drake, and then Solary afterwards, well, they had 3 kills in front of them.
Well, I think one of the major problems is just from a biblical standpoint, Goldborg.
Biblical standpoint, okay.
From a biblical standpoint, you know, Adam's obviously having to play with a snake this game, and I'm sure you remember in the Bible what happened the last time that Adam sort of had liaisons with a snake. It led to many of the world evils. Many of the world evils that we know.
Ava, wasn't it? Wasn't it really Eve instead?
Ava? Ava?
Sorry, Eve.
Is that what she's called? Is that what she's called in Denmark?
Yeah.
Adam and Ava.
Yeah.
It's more of a Danish affair. I love pastry.
Great caster, yeah, good guy. NA.
Yeah. Speaking of, you know,
what?
Clutching for breadcrumbs, Solary going to be trying to find their Pano au chocolat here in the LFL. Try and find the icing on the cake to round out the first 20 minutes of this game. Obviously, 2 dragons for themselves. On towards the Baron now, getting a little bit of vision around that.
Yeah, it is going to be the standard Belveth build that we've seen flourish, which of course is that Blade of the Rune King into the Frostfire Gauntlet. Gives you some more flexibility in the team fight, but also crucial, the build feels more broken when you get ahead and you get to like one-shot. Well, not to say one-shot, but, you know, take care of them a little bit better.
You know what they say, Gilbert? What is broken cannot be reforged.
Is that Riven?
That is Riven, yeah. God, you're good, aren't you? You know everything.
I'm just gonna ask you real quick to just real quick take over the cast, as I may be getting complained for neighbors. Let me just check the door real quick.
You're getting a neighbor complaint. You've been.
we'll find out, won't we? Stay tuned.
Well, anyway, stay tuned on the update of whether Goldborg will be getting evicted from his house, and it's certainly going to be BDSA Academy that are trying to evict some vision, or render some vision for themselves, rather, around this Baron area. Still that pink, important to note off the left of the side of the screen there. And noise is noise, but, you know, in terms of screaming into the void, much like Jocko will want to, get some of those void corals in some of these fights. We're going to have to see how that unfolds. It's fair to say, 2k in the lead now, Solary. It's a slower game. It's gone back to neutral, but on this next fight, we'll have to see what kind of screams we'll see.
All right. 1 minute until the third Drake. I don't know if this is
have you been
response you brought up yet?
You've not been evicted from your house, essentially.
Essentially not yet, at least. So that's always a positive.
I love neighbours. They're great. They're always.
I've never actually had
always
good
complaining
before.
Really?
But then again, I don't think I've ever been a good neighbor myself, being a shoutcaster screaming. So you know, yeah, I think it's probably just karma going that way. Interesting.
No, karma is a dream
race. Look at this. 30 seconds on towards the Drake. They're like gonna make Scarlet walk over to pretend like he's going towards the Drake. This is actually 200 IQ. But in the meantime, you actually have Asa and Joker soloing out the Baron.
This could be absolutely massive in terms of if they can actually find themselves in the fray for this fight. And BDSA Academy don't seem to have realised
it's gone. They're not checking it. They're just not checking it. There you have it, Baron.
That's going to give what I like to call
It's going to give Belveth the form of the guy that killed Steve Irwin. This is the Stingray. This is the Stingray form.
This is too far, bro. This is too far. That we're taking it back there.
Are you a fan of? We're not allowed. Are you a fan of Steve Irwin?
Bro, that was the childhood. My mom would do it every time
He's
we
my
would go to
childhood
bed.
hero as well.
Well,
I think that
Mantine form is what I like to call it
is it
as
called
well.
What's Mantime form?
Well, that's what you're looking at right there.
What are you saying? Mantime?
Do you know what? You don't know what a Mantine is?
I'm gonna have to Google it. Gee, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, it's a Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
You're such a nerd. You're such a nerd, Gulbo.
Yeah, and you're just such an average human. Why are you not nerd like me, bro? Come on. Alright, playing on 2 lanes instead. Speaking about nerd, let's talk about some nerdy stuff about League. Mid lane being pushed in. They are playing with Baron. They don't have to play on 3. They can just play on 2 lanes, just staying together with the pressure, minimizing the risk of anyone getting picked off guard. Now moving on towards the top side. Minion wave is coming in. Scarlet's going to stay in the mid lane to keep the next Baron minion up and empowered, just to retain the pressure that BDSA is going to be under.
Yeah, completely. I think it's so important that they do play throughout these 2 lanes. Just continue to mount that, and obviously with the enhanced form, like we spoke about, this Mantine form that you've spoken about, it's going to give them extra power with these waves as they push them. It means that BDS Academy more kind of hard pressed to respond to a lot of these waves that are going to be crashing into them. And I think really good trade-off, obviously being found here by Solary. Obviously getting that Baron. They obviously gave over the second dragon, but I can't imagine they're too upset about that. Oh, it's a great hook again from Steelback. Ignite comes down, teleport in response. It's a good ult from Rika. Stops the play now. Rika, Scarlet's going to be in grounded here. Trying to find one of these pullbacks on the play here. And this could have been very deadly if it hadn't been both of those summoners burned by Crowny.
Yeah, but I think crucially, the fact is that you get low and low on the side of BDSA, and they're not going to be able to defend this next turret. So even though they kind of come away from an even team fight, they're still going to be under the pressure of Baron minions being pushed in, and they're going to have to forfeit this turret. So still, net win goes over to Solary.
Yeah, definitely a net win for Solary. Now 5k in the lead, and almost imagine using this Baron, obviously being able to translate it further and further with the gold lead, get those extra turrets on the map. You see Rika, sorry, not Rika, it's going to be Adam teleporting into the bot side just to get this wave pushed in here. I don't quite understand the teleport play here, but
bounties weren't active either, so it's not like you regain something phenomenal. Teleport will be down for the next Drake as well, so yeah, I'm going to actually stay in the same booth as you there and call it a little bit questionable. Of course, you did get some gold, but not going to be too much. Now that you have broken at least the top side, in terms of tier 2 turrets, you can move down towards the bottom side as well. So you still keep the mid lane pushed in. Drew from Belveth coming through with the Void Links. Baron no longer a thing.
Jocko very quickly with the sweeper there is able to dodge out from Rika's ultimate here. Very good from him. It's a little bit of danger that could have been granted for the side of BDS Academy in the spot side, but they're not able to act on it just there. It's going to mean that this last few ticking down seconds of the Baron is going to be used to get this tier 2 turret in the bot side.
Mid lane pressured by Scarlet still, and no one's responding to that pressure just yet. Keo needs to be careful that they're not getting caught off guard while they don't have all their members there, and the push might get slowed down a little bit now that they no longer have the power of the Baron to off of the minions. The wave clear has become way more significant for BDSA, and they're actually dealing with the pushes and sieging coming through from Solary.
Yeah, I feel like it's time for Solary very much to just not get complacent in this game. Just move the lead as far forward as possible. I think they've done a very good job in this Baron kind of window to get some of these turrets, get the tier 2 mid, get the tier 2 top as well, and that's obviously going to give them a lot more space on the map now. But now the goal is very much get this soul point and then wait out for the next Baron. I feel like they're in a position where they're a lot stronger. I think it'd be fair to say, obviously with 3 items almost being complete on the Swain, he's going to have so much stopping power in these team fights. And Azza on the Callista as well, 3 items with that stasis available as well. He should be able to do so much in these fights.
Oh yeah, 100%. And now, even though BDSA was put so much behind in their base in terms of like map pressure, now that the Baron has gone, there's still so much more availability for them to kind of get out of the map and create an even footing instead. They're still forever on the top side of the map, but no one's really in a split push condition from Solary, which means that now they're completely even on this Drake fight, and Keo might even get caught.
Oh, he's going to walk into 3 people here. Has to flash over the wall, but he's going to get knocked up. Stasis does go into. He might have bought just enough time here.
Oh, this
Thought
could
it
be
was gonna
dangerous now.
Fate's Call comes out. Shio is going to get knocked up. No, not quite. E away. Scarlet flashes forward, finds Rika. Rika going to be so hard pressed to do a lot in this team fight. He's found a lot of damage, but Azza using that stasis we mentioned before. Stopwatch stops time here. It's a double kill here. Solary strike back. It was some over-aggression. What you thought was a good setup play from BDS Academy.
Yeah, it was a good pickup initially if they could kill Kyo there, but afterwards they stick around for too long trying to get him while he's in stopwatch. But it's such a good stopwatch from Kyo too, because it buys time for his teammates to get there. BDSA split up, they get one turret, might even get two, but still, Drake go over to Solary.
See, Drake goes the way of Solary, and now they're on Soul Point, obviously going to get that enhanced Void, Coral Void. Adam walking away here. Yeah, it's the Void Coral, but Kyo's waiting for him on the other side. He doesn't quite land, but he's going to have Crowny and Dream Race in tandem, waiting to help him. Imagine that Kyo might have gone a little bit too far forward. They're going to have to use the Nara ult against the wall any second now, and that's going to be Adam who gets that return kill. And this is going to stop them from being able to get the Baron here, Goldborg, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, they might even be flip the tables here, and BDSA might be the one trying to start up the Baron a little bit. No TP on Adam, but will happen a little bit, and they're going to be walking forward. It's almost connected.
Adam doesn't quite have the teleport available. Should be up in around 10 to 15 seconds or so. Look towards that being a focal point. Kyo will not have teleport when he's up. And it's a big misstep from Kyo. You feel like obviously he had a bit of a disappointing game so far. Maybe looking for a slightly, element of heroics here. Rika gets buffed up by the Karma going forward. Shio's here as well. Big ultimate. W comes down as well. Ultimate from the Wukong knockup. Scarlet goes into stasis, trying to find so much healing. You can see it come out while he's there. Rika over the wall, doing so much DPS. Jocko's in as well. Gets a reset. Damage reduction is being available from the E. But there's no banquet there for the Belveth. It is the throw from Solary that we were so dangerously looking forward to.
Solary managed to build this game, and what a split-up team fight for them. They already had Kyo dead, so they're fighting a 4 versus 5. Joko with his pathing went all the way to the left side, so he wasn't able to join the fight. And I can't believe they dropped the ball in a crucial moment like this. When they're on Soul Point, when they have the lead, they falter.
Yeah, and it's a tremendous falter as well. I think, look here, you had to play with the fact that Kyo was off the map here. Shio goes in, finds a great angle. And it is the case that the Callisto's off to the side. Azza's trying to do his job here, trying to dash in and out. But Scarlet, so much DPS being given over to him. He just can't get anything done here. And this was just really a numbers game here.
And Joko doesn't even get the true form initially, so that true damage you get in that area doesn't come down either. He was just so split for the team. We've talked about it so many times. If you draft Belveth, you fight through the Belveth, but they took a 3 versus 5, and the Belveth came in way too late, dies, and Baron is just free for the taking. Now, at Soul Point, surely can be thrown out the window just due to the fact that BDSA will be able to retain pressure and very far forward on the map as well with these Baroned up minions.
And you feel as if we were saying it earlier, Solary, although they were ahead, we told them, we didn't tell them, but we said it's good to just not get complacent in terms of where your lead is, where your lead is lying. I feel like during their Baron window, they were able to find these turrets, and it was very good for them in terms of they then got that dragon afterwards. They found a very good fight for themselves, but they catch themselves sleeping, and it's that lapse in attention that has allowed BDS Academy to kind of really capitalize. And although Rika has been and bared the brunt of a few engages gone wrong, he's just doing so much damage in some of these fights as well.
Oh, he definitely is. And they can continue. 3 cannon minions coming in with the Baron here. No way to stop them. And steel bags, he's had good hooks this game, but through the minions, finding that small needle eye is going to be difficult. Sieging continues, way longer range with the Karma and the Ezreal than Solary had with their Baron Siege earlier. So it just looks so much easier for BDSA in this composition.
Absolutely, and I feel like this is where we started to talk about during the draft, Goldborg, when this Cassio was picked in terms of that ground. We saw in that previous fight, if you can find these extended chokes with the Wukong as well, where you just have 3 people sitting on top of your miasma, it creates a myriad of issues for Solary immediately, whereby the Callista finds difficulty getting into the fight, the Swain can't really find that excessive healing that he wants, obviously with the anti-heal being granted by the Cassio as well, that's also creating a lot of damage in that way as well. Like there's 3 anti-heals available for the side of BDS Academy, and more so as time goes on. Swain's finding less effectiveness in these team fights, I feel.
I think you're completely right about that, and it certainly hit a point now where the water is just flowing over the cup. It's too much pressure for Solary now.
Yeah.
There's too much stuff to deal with. with the Baron buff, they're able to break open an inhibitor. Solary had a very early Baron too, but they never really found the mark to do so. So now there's extra neutral pressure coming in the map from the bot side. You will now just be able to set up around the Rift Herald. And if you hear the weird annoying sound, it's because Scarlet is a little bug with the Sonya sound. Will probably go away in a team fight, but setup is looking good for BDSA. Adam almost hitting Mega now. Surely this will just be BDSA.
Kyo has that Mega Gnar, trying to find a little flank off to the side here potentially. The Dragon is spawning in 15 seconds, and Solary do not look like they're in a position that they have been in before. The ringing in the ears, it's the tinnitus of sounds. As you can hear the cacophony of noise. We spoke about it earlier. Noise complaints from your neighbors. There's definitely noise complaints for how quiet Solary will be feeling after this game if they've thrown it away and they truly have not managed to get that soul here, not managed to get that soul point, and it's BDS Academy that picked up the last 3 dragons. With that Baron, with that inhibitor wave spawning in the bot side as well, they're going to have to respond to that as well, and that's going to give BDS Academy the ability to move through mid rather soon.
Yeah, but I don't think much is going to come out of it. You still have the blue camps being up, you still don't have any neutral objectives that you can take afterwards like the Baron, so you're kind of just finishing your items. So let's take stock of those items instead. 4 items, rather. Whereas Io is only sitting on 2.5. It really have been a weak point for Solary in this game. He's been so easily shut down by Rika, who's had phenomenal roams up towards the top side. And Rika as well. 4.5 items. He's incredibly scary on this Rift Herald.
Oh, Kyo is just getting taken out so quickly.
He's gone.
He's gone. That's that Wit's End power there. Just so much extra on-hit damage. You can see Kyo just absolutely melts there. And yeah, I just feel like, yeah, God, you hate to say it, but I feel like Kyo has just absolutely just sailed his team up the creek without a paddle at this point. They were in such a good position, and it's just mistake after mistake. You know, previously him getting caught out in that exchange, it was actually what won them the team fight. Obviously, he got the stasis, and it meant that BDS Academy were lingering around for too much. But just what has really blown this game open was that overstay, that flank in the bot side that he thought was going to be the hero play, but it's just actually just completely propelled and rocketed this game against the course of action.
I still, of course it's a weak point, but I also think there's some team effort gone wrong into this one, and now with the sieging coming through, this tower is gone, and they might just look for a team fight. Rika engages.
Yeah, Rika's popped that ghost. He fancies his chances here. They're just going to take the inhibitor for now. Rika buffed up by the Karma. Steelback's going to be solo when he gets called out of this Fate's Call here. Azza's trying to do his hardest here, but he goes into Guardian Angel. You almost feel as if there's no Guardian Angel for Solary. Adam's in. Flash forward's not going to land onto too many. It's going to be Azza who gets taken out. Adam in response. Killed off. Jocko has to get a reset from a kill. And now with 2 waves to play with. A wave coming in from bot side. It's a flash forward from Shio. Steelback. And a buffed off Cassio. It's going to mean there's only 2 people, Jocko and Kyo, trying to stave off this invasion, this infestation in the base. It's going to be 1 Nexus turret that goes down. BDS Academy trying to take the game here, trying to move to 5 and 7, trying to move and jump and skip ahead of Solary here. And that's going to be Kyo who gets taken down, Jocko as well. Crowny should pick up this one as well for a double kill. And Solary throw away the game in the last 10 minutes, and they had all the tools to play with. And it's BDS Academy who snatch it from them.
And it's so close. Remember, the stakes between these 2 teams was that they were sharing the same position. They're in the race for playoffs. When you drop games like this against your opposition that you're sharing that spot with, not only of your course losing a game,